Hello and welcome to our Gold viewers. I'm Fiona Lang-Sharp, IBCLC and Public Relations Manager and MC for the Gold Lactation Online Conference 2015. Welcome to my interview with Professor Helen Ball, and we're going to be talking about her up-and-coming presentation at the Gold Lactation Conference. And the title is, How Do Digital Age Parents Cope with Their Infants at Night? Well, welcome back, Helen. It's great to have you with us again here at Gold.
Hi, Fiona. Thanks for inviting me.
Well, I'm very excited to hear about this in your presentation, Helen, because this is a very hot topic right now. And with our millennium mums and families, it just seems to be there's so much confusion going on for them, and they're distraught. And, we want to know what we can do for them. We know what we've learned in the past, and we know where we've come from, but there's been so many changes, over the years. So I have a few questions for you about your presentation. So perhaps you can just give us a little bit of an insight to what we're going to be learning.
Yeah,
So do you think, have families today really lost all perception of what sleep looks like for a newborn?
Well, I think there's probably two issues going on. One is information overload. And there's so much information available on the internet and via other kind of digital sources for parents at the moment that you can probably find every possible kind of perspective on what infant sleep is supposed to be like, and then knowing which information is kind of evidence-based and which information you can trust is really, really hard. So that's one of the things that I hope to help within the talk today, is to give listeners some tips about how they can help families figure out which information they should be listening to and which of it is a bit more speculative or old wives' tales or just somebody's opinion. I think the other thing is that we've probably lost all perception of what normal sleep is like in contemporary society, because the sleep that even adults have is not how we were biologically designed to sleep. And so if we don't understand our own sleep, we're even further removed from understanding our infant's sleep. So trying to get back to kind of what our biology is expecting us to do and understand how we've modified that over time, I think is also quite helpful for parents to understand what they're feeling and what their babies are feeling.
Well, isn't that so true? I think that for so many of us, as adults, there's, a differing perception of what it really looks like in that circadian rhythm. And, there's a lot of talk about it, but I feel like it's always very limited, and trying to work your way through the maze of information is very challenging. So, having you be at the infant sleep lab there in Durham University, it's such a gift to all of us, because, this is your expertise, this is what you do, and we love it when you can get all that information together for us. So where do you think all these messages are coming from? Because it just, like, they're everywhere, Helen, and we've got sleep training and all those things going on. Like, why are we getting bombarded with all of this?
Well, I think one of the issues that we need to be alert to is that people have figured out that they can make money from advising parents about infant sleep. And so a lot of these messages are commercially motivated. So they're not necessarily in the interests of the parents or the child. They're in the interests of the purveyors of the products or the services or whatever. And so it's helpful to them to generate clients and consumers to make parents anxious about their infant's sleep, because then parents are on the lookout for things that might help them. So that's one source of where the messages are coming from. And then, of course, the other thing that we have to remember is that things are changing. The way, and particularly the way in which we're feeding our babies, are changing again. They changed in the past to be dominated by formula, but they're changing back again now to more babies being breastfed. Yet what's in many of the pediatric guidelines, the parental self-help books about sleep, etc., is all based on information about formula-fed babies. And so parents need new information that's kind of tailored to the fact that they're now breastfeeding and breastfeeding for longer, and their baby's sleep is going to be, or might be, different because of that. So yeah, that combined with kind of the folklore around infant sleep, which parents are these days challenging, and I'll give you a bit of evidence about that in the talk. but it's still quite prevalent in some parts of the world. So it's difficult to change, and the process of changing culture around things like infant care takes a long time.
Wow. Well, I just had an aha moment there. I just realized that I really need to use that language with my parents, as in directing them to the information that is about breastfed babies versus all the information that is written in books that's predominantly, focused on formula fed infants. And so I just realized there needs to be a language shift, even in my practice. That's just brilliant. Thank you. So, can you tell me, in all your research, Helen, because I really want to know, like, what changes are you seeing, or have you seen in the past from before to now in your research in all of this?
There's a very distinct change in the way in which parents are talking about infant sleep, especially as you just mentioned, breastfeeding moms are talking about infant sleep. It used to be that when we interviewed parents, the fact that babies woke frequently at night was viewed as a problem, and it was a problem that parents needed to come up with a solution to stop babies from doing this. And now, when we're interviewing parents, what we're finding them saying is that they recognize that it's normal for babies to wake during the night to be fed, and they need to find strategies in order to cope with it themselves. So that's a big change, and that's really only come about in the last few years. Um, and then other things that we're seeing is that parents are being much more open and willing to discuss the ways in which they cope, such as when they bring their baby into bed. Um, and they're less inclined to put the baby in a separate room and shut the door and pretend that they can't hear it. Um, so I think, the more we talk about these issues and the more that people realize what is normal for babies, the more acceptable it becomes to kind of come up with solutions that work for you and your baby, and to kind of recognize that breastfed babies are different in terms of their patterns of sleep, not necessarily their overall amount of sleep, but certainly in the way in which sleep is patterned for them over the night.
Wonderful. I love what you said about, parents being more open to discuss it now, because I grew up in an area where it was very competitive, about how long your baby slept, and this was a common conversation, and I know that we still hear it today. But the fact that parents are willing to be, like you said, more open to the conversation of just learning more, and and getting the correct information that's just going to suit their family's needs. I think that's just wonderful as well. Well, Helen, we have run out of time, and I could talk to you for longer about this. Such a great topic, very much needed, today. And I'm so looking forward to having you, and listening to our full presentation. And to all of our Gold viewers out there as well, don't forget to tune in. You can come and listen to Professor Helen Ball at the Gold Lactation 2015 online conference. Thanks for sitting down with me today, Helen, and thanks to all of our viewers listening. Have a great rest of your day.